If you want one of the best views of the Judean desert and the hill country of Judah, all from one place, well, this is the video for you. Stay tuned. Shalom and welcome to this teaching channel. We're all about teaching the Bible in the context of the land of Israel. It's my honor to welcome you to this video, which is all about obtaining one of the best views of the Judean desert and the hill country of Judah, including Jerusalem and Bethlehem, all from one location. And this location is a site called Herodium. This is actually where Herod the Great was buried. When he died in Jericho, his body was brought here. It's an archaeological site. In fact, it's very impressive. From the top of Herodium, as you will see, I've included two perspectives. One first looking eastward and then westward. And of course, it's a windy day, and you're going to hear me share a few things and certainly some biblical connections from the top of this site. But it's a great experience to be in Israel, to see this place and that place, to see the Dead Sea in one direction and, of course, Jerusalem in the other. Sometimes it's all about the view, as we say on the trips that we lead to Israel. So thanks for watching this. Certainly subscribe and hit the red bell if you want to be a part of our teaching channel. So let's get started and let's go to the top of windy Herodium. Shalom, shalom, from a place south and east of Jerusalem called Herodium. The visibility today is absolutely stunning. So from on top of Herodium, I want to show you what we can see to the east. And the view is absolutely wonderful. From Herodium, a palace fortress built by Herod, and where his body would be buried, we can see to the Judean desert. We can even see down to the Dead Sea. And today, believe it or not, we can see the hills of Moab, or modern-day Jordan. This view is quite rare, but it is absolutely wonderful today. If we zoom in a little, we can actually see this body of water called the Dead Sea. It's about 15 miles away from here. But even the hills of Moab are now coming into view. If you remember the story of Ruth and Naomi, it involved going to the country of Moab before they would return to Bethlehem. If you recall some of the Psalms written by David about the Judean desert, he would write such things as, "Lead me to the rock that is higher than I," as well as in a dry and weary land where there is no water. Today from Herodium, we can see it all. As I mentioned, Jerusalem is just to the north and west. And with the visibility being so good, we can actually look and see towards Jerusalem. The Mount of Olives are in
view, the entire western part of the city of Jerusalem is right in front of us. I'm going to walk around this site called Herodium to allow you to see the surrounding areas. Directly to our west is a place called Bethlehem. We really can't see most of Bethlehem from this vantage point, but if you can see the hill right in front of us, Bethlehem is tucked away right behind this first hill that you see. And Bethlehem, as prophesied by Micah in chapter 5, was the place of Christ's birth. Jerusalem and Bethlehem, and further south, Hebron is located on the hill country of Judah. Whereas Herodium, being a little further east of Bethlehem, borders the hill country of Judah to the west and the Judean desert to the east. So let's circle this site and see what else we can see. To the south of Herodium is the desert of Tekoa. It's actually mentioned in 2 Chronicles chapter 20. Jehoshaphat leads his army against the three invading armies from across the Dead Sea. They are gathered at a place called En-Gedi, and Jehoshaphat, as the text tells us, leaves Jerusalem, comes through this desert of Tekoa right in front of us, and then heads towards En-Gedi, only to see God's intervening hand in bringing them victory against these three invading armies from the east. The prophet Amos was from Tekoa, and Tekoa is this community right in front of us now. The prophet Amos is from this town.
So as you saw and heard, it was very windy that day when I videoed from the top of this palace fortress. Incidentally, Herod the Great, who built this palace fortress, had many of these. In fact, on the other side of the Dead Sea, about halfway down, is a site called Machaerus. Incidentally, it was where John the Baptist was beheaded. But he had these palace fortresses really all over. Masada, of course, was the big one and the first one that he built. But this one at Herodium and Machaerus, and of course his winter palace at Jericho, where Herod the Great died. His body was then transported to this site called Herodium, where he was buried. But Herod the Great was not a nice person. And yet when I stand on the top of this site and look in all directions, it really causes me to appreciate that just at the right time, God sent his Son to be the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Jesus was born in nearby Bethlehem, in the shadow of this wicked King Herod the Great. God knew what he was doing. It was the right time for Jesus to be born. And of course, Herod the Great was one who tried to track down Jesus and, of course, was not successful. So sometimes when we go to Israel, it's not just archaeological sites that are highlights on every trip, but it's the views that we try to take or experience. And in this case, I hope you agree that the view from the top of Herodium, looking east and, of course, west and a little north and south as well, what a spectacular perspective of the land of the Bible. So thanks so much for joining us for this video, and certainly We look forward to you joining us and hopping on other videos that are designed to help you understand the Bible in context. Shalom until next time.